So what's stopping you from building an incline Helix layout? Is it because you're afraid trains are derailing, or is it because coupling issues? So let's break that down and find out what's really giving derailments and uncoupling issues on a large Helix and incline layout. Let's find out. I just put this locomotive up and the top fan thing flew off. This is the locomotive that hit the floor, I think. Yeah, this little beauty. Still runs great though. Starters, we grab our NCE and we crank her up. That's an after runner, by the way, DCC. I hope my track is clean enough to run it. This is my large Empire layout. It has everything from Helix is here, Helix is over there, tight radiuses, pretty much breaking all the rules of model railroading, and this stuff is working pretty good. Okay, so I mean, minus the problems that we don't have nothing insulated, and we have no issues, no track expansion, no nothing. No, you know, we're not going to get into that. The video is about building an incline layout. Should you be afraid of that? The answer is no. Don't be afraid to put inclines in your layout, because an incline is not what gives you trouble. It may slow the engine down. It may be a little harder on the equipment pulling, but did I break locomotives on inclines or such the cracked gear problem going into an incline on the Helix? No, have never broke a locomotive on an incline or in any kind of crazy weird positions. I have videos pulling heavy loads up Devil Mountain. King of the Mountain, go check that old video out. That was way back then. But yeah, check that out. Coming across Devil Mountain in a 3% in some places, and she's pulling right up it. There it goes. Probably around 3.5 right there. Now, I would not suggest that steep of a grade. 2.5% is plenty on locomotives, although they will work on 3% inclines, right? That's not the issue. Inclines don't give trouble, okay? But David, I built inclines. I don't like inclines, so I'm keeping it flat now. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I kept having uncoupling issues. Well, that's because of height issues, right? So let's break that down. Those couplers are pretty level to me. All right, stop. Come see. So those couplers there are in sync with each other. They're perfectly lined up, correct? That's what that coupler pretty much has to do on inclines, but sometimes they do come uncoupled. The reason why they come uncoupled is because the track is not level and consistent throughout your incline. So when you're putting your incline, make sure you don't have no dips on your track. That's what causes decoupling, okay? If your track has a dip in it, it's going to cause this one to ride. It's going to cause this car to tether backwards, and it's going to cause this car to tether downwards. And when that action does this, you got an uncoupling issue. So it's not necessarily the incline, okay? People blame it on inclines, or it's not that. It's because the car is doing this, and the back car is doing this, and uncouple. So with that said, that's the reason why cars are coming uncoupled in inclines, is because of the track. It's not the incline. Can we remember that? Can we remember that? Another thing I've learned is some manufacturers have overcompensation. We're not going to go into manufacturer names or anything like that, but some manufacturers have great compensation in their trucks, up, down, side to side. And even though they are rated from factory at 22-inch radius, doesn't mean that they're not rated for 18. Because of the overcompensation, they will allow for 18-inch radius, therefore allowing your train to stay on the radius better. Some manufacturers, not all created the same. So if you run your favorite other manufacturer and it derails on an 18-inch radius, and you're like, man, it's my track, well, maybe the locomotive isn't compensating as much as another manufacturer is. For me, certain manufacturers run better than others on my layout. So what I do, I just keep buying those and keep running what works on my layout. Pretty simple, right? Again, example of overcompensation. These are overcompensated also. Giving this locomotive to run great on an 18-inch radius. Wild radius, right? So getting on to helixes. As long as you got your track in a consistent radius, you shouldn't have no major issues with your radiuses, okay? On a helix, what I would do in HO scale, I would go 22 on up on helix. The bigger the better, but if you're space constraint, 22 on up and keep that thing consistent. Wrap it around. Keep coming. Make sure it's 22 all the way in. And of course, keeping your grade consistent is very important. So if you have a little dip again in certain areas, pick that dip up. So I have some couple little swags that I need to go and fix, but nothing giving no derailments, but that can give uncoupling issues in the future, okay? There she goes. This locomotive runs beautiful because it's overcompensating down in the trucks. And that truck is always doing this on Devil Mountain because Devil Mountain is not quite perfect. It does have some little hiccups down in here. It just wasn't done 100 proof when I built it, okay? Building a trestle bridge like this, it's a rickety trestle bridge. So I wanted the old look of this. I mean, I even left the boards falling off, as you can see. I wanted it to look old with the future of me putting a new bridge around it. One day. But what happens with that rickety look, you do have dips and swags, and if your locomotive is not heavy enough to keep them wheels tracked into the rails, it can be prone to derailing every once in a while on here. Not all the time. Some manufacturers run better on this area than others. So that's your compensation with your track being a little wavy, which is the case in this. Not a lot, but it is. So to keep this video kind of short and tidy, this video is aimed to somebody that's wanting to do an incline layout, but they're afraid because they keep hearing this, oh, I keep having derailments, I keep having uncoupling, I'll never do an incline. That's far from the truth. That's not in the issue. The issue is in the track work, like always. Which locomotive is going to handle those things better than others? That's just plain and simple. And the truth on that part, some manufacturers are overcompensated. So again, sometimes it's not in the track, sometimes it's in the locomotive. But again, don't be afraid of building your incline layout. I mean, inclines give variety. Inclines give interesting runs. It's just awesome to see a locomotive struggling inclines, coming around mountains. I don't know, that's what I like, right? Inclines, right? Now, if you want a 100 proof layout and not to worry about it, 22-inch radius on up, flat layout, no dips in your track, just a kind of, okay, that should work, you know. But here we push the limits, we make things work on major inclines. That's what we do. That's what HO Powertrain's about, baby. So with that said, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.